The tip was clean. And Phee still on the floor. Cheryl Reeve and the rest of her staff streaking onto the floor. And
it was 25 seconds left, guys. It was 25 seconds left in the fourth and final quarter in last night's game. I just had to catch the replay just this morning. I got done. I was drinking my coffee and I was rewatching the Phoenix Mercury take on the Minnesota Lynx. It was Phoenix Mercury's home court advantage down there in Phoenix, Arizona. And it was game 3 of the series, best 3 out of 5. It was 25 seconds left in the fourth and final quarter. And we saw Alyssa Thomas, AT. She had a clean pass. It was a clean steal, rather. She stole the ball from Nafisa Collier. And we seen Nafisa Collier, I don't know, maybe it was from the wind. It was from like the momentum, the speed and velocity where she was going. But again, AT had a clean steal for the most part, okay? I don't believe it's fair to put the blame on AT, put the blame on anybody. We all know by now, if you haven't been paying attention, injuries have been wrecking the women in the WNBA this current 2025 WNBA season. But we saw Nafisa Collier's left ankle. Okay, I literally just like twisted. It was just so grotesque to see. And we just saw her immediately go down on the court. She's writhing in pain. Her eyes are filling up with tears. She was crying. I'm like, oh my God. And of course, immediately after that, we see Cheryl Reeves. Again, she's the head coach of the Minnesota Lynx. Very fiery, very passionate woman. She was raised out there in New Jersey. Okay, East Coast, the Beast Coast. She don't play none of that. Okay, you already know how aggressive she can be as a coach. And I could see it from her peripheral view from being on the court. She just saw Alyssa Thomas just like speed past Nafisa Collier, steal the ball. Okay, she poked the ball away. In her mind, I believe in that moment. But even in her post-game press interview, she spoke about, how this is malpractice. Again, I'm going to do a whole other video on that because it was a lot to be said. And I want to speak more about some of the women. I ain't going to pick on nobody and call out names, but we got to talk about the physicality of the WNBA. It is kind of getting out of control. But again, I don't believe Alyssa Thomas is at fault for what happened to Nafisa Collier, okay? But we saw Cheryl Reeves just storm the court. Okay, it gave me flashbacks to Tyler Marsh, my head coach in my Chicago Sky, when he got thrown out of the game because it was Chicago Sky. It was at our home court. It was Chicago Sky versus the Connecticut Sun, I believe. Yeah, it was Aaliyah Edwards had clearly fouled Elizabeth Williams. Was it E. Will? I believe it was E. Will, Elizabeth Williams. And we see no call. It was that ball-headed ref that be like low-key harassing and trying to like get a rise out of Angel Reese. And Tyler Marsh sees this and he literally stormed the court. He did like this. I thought he had knocked this man out, right? He gets ejected from the game, thrown out. Same thing that happened with Cheryl Reeves last night. She gets ejected from the game. She's thrown out. It's like 20-something seconds left in the game, the fourth and final quarter. In her mind and her peripheral view, I can see how she would believe or see, so to speak, that A.T. Alyssa Thomas perhaps maybe caused an injury. Because again, the way that ankle twisted, it was just so, again, it was just grotesque. I feel so bad for the Minnesota Lynx. Again, guys, this ain't looking good. I ain't gonna lie. We're in a dire situation. The Minnesota Lynx are in a dire situation. It's do or die. These next 2 games, it's literally life or death for the Minnesota Lynx. You would have just told me a week ago, 2 weeks ago, that the Minnesota Lynx would give up a 20-point lead in the third quarter in game 2 against Phoenix Mercury, I wouldn't believe you. If you would have told me that Dejanay Carrington would be out for the rest of the season due to fracturing her right foot, I wouldn't believe you. And of course, without Dejanay Carrington, we really needed her in this game last night. Because Kalia Copper was just very hard to contain. She would just do whatever she wanted to do from the 3-point arc line, mid-point shot, in the paint, getting to the basket, cutting to the basket. Satu Sabali, I ain't gonna lie, I gotta give her props. She was one of those players in the WNBA where I just did not care for. Like, I'm not like at all. I'm not in awe of her talents, of her efficiency, of her skill level. But now I see why they call Satu Sabali the unicorn. She really is a unicorn. The girl is 6'4". She was giving up threes like it was nothing, cutting to the paint, giving out assists, being the defensive stopper. She was very disruptive to us. Like, she didn't even really have to like touch a player on the Minnesota Lynx. Just her presence alone, that 6'4" stature. Okay, I'm sure like just her that energy that she comes across, like she comes across as aggressive. She don't play. Okay, she gets down, she don't play. Satu Sabali being that unicorn, she was disruptive defensively just by her presence alone. The girls didn't want nothing to do with her. And like Again, like, this is just another game where we could have won. We should have won. And not only was it like we could have won this game, we should have won this game. But we lost. We gave it up in game 3 of the series. Best 3 out of 5. Just like we gave it up in game 2. Game 2 still has me hurt. Because they made us pay the fee. Yes, the fee, the Phee, on the Feast Collier's 29th birthday. Like, that ain't bad enough. You give up a 20-point lead in game 2, and then you get beat on your birthday. And then on game 3, y'all gave up a huge lead. Well, we didn't have a huge lead. Okay, it was very back and forth throughout this game, but at the second, third quarter, we got in front of them, and it just kept going back and forth. We got tired, they got in front. We got tired, we got in front. And then the fourth and final quarter, for it to go like that, because again, the stud buzzer gotta call them out. Courtney Williams and Tisha Heidemann, they did the best they could. Nobody was giving up threes like we needed it. Like, we needed a point guard shooter. Kayla McBride is usually her. Nafisa Collier is usually her. But again, like, it just wasn't in the cards again, and it just makes me so sad and mad for them. Because yes, even like in that post-game interview, Courtney Williams was like, you know what? We went 9 for 21. Like, we got to do better. They were going on runs with us, and we could not answer those runs that the Phoenix Mercury was going on towards us. We have to. It's do or die. She understands the situation is dire. Game 4 and game 5, she's like, we have to win these games. But how can you win these games when, one, Dejanay Carrington, the defensive stopper that y'all really do need, she's out due to a fractured foot, and now it looks like, I don't want to put it out there, but let's be honest. Nafisa Collier looked like she sprained that ankle again. I don't know if it was the same ankle. I believe the first time she had that sprained ankle, she went down for 3 weeks. It was her right ankle, and now it appears what happened last night, it was her left ankle. Again, overall, I'm just very, very deeply upset at how the Minnesota Lynx, again, they said, people on Twitter, of course, I'll be scrolling social media while watching these games. People on Twitter said that the Minnesota Lynx literally waited into the playoffs to be the worst team. Like, literally. It's like, at this point, I can see it, again, the WNBA is unpredictable. I can see it as the finals game being Phoenix versus Vegas, which is crazy. That was not on my bingo card. The game concluded with the Minnesota Lynx losing by 8 points. They had 76 points compared to the Phoenix Mercury's 84 points. And for the first quarter, the Minnesota Lynx was in front. They scored 22 points. Mercury scored 19. The second quarter, the Lynx scored 22. Mercury scored 29. The third quarter, the Lynx scored 23. Mercury only scored 15. In the fourth and final quarter, the Lynx was only able to put up 9 points compared to the Mercury's 21 points. Let's get into the individual player statistics. Let's start with the Lynx first, okay? Bridget Carlton, guys, had 6 points, 0 assists, and 4 rebounds. We saw Bridget Carlton bump. She, like, chest checked, shoulder checked, Satu Sabally. They was like, I didn't even know Bridget Carlton got down like that, but I guess she do. That was crazy. Nafisa Collier had 17 points, 3 assists, 6 rebounds. Alana Smith had 0 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound. Courtney Williams had 14 points, 3 assists, 5 rebounds. Kayla McBride put up 12 points, had 5 assists, 4 rebounds. Maria Kilinakova, she cannot get no rebounds to save her life. She had 12 points. She had 8 points, 1 assist, 6 rebounds. Jessica Shepard had 0 points. Yeah, people was pissed about her, including myself. She had good looks. She just couldn't shoot. She had 0 points, 2 assists, 1 rebound. Tisha Heidemann, she actually was the leading scorer in last night's game, for the Minnesota Lynx. I gotta take a little bit of my criticisms of her back. She had 19 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds. Talk about the mighty, mighty Mercury. Satu Sabally had 23 points, okay, the unicorn. She had 0 assists, 4 rebounds. Alyssa Thomas had 21 points, 8 assists, 9 rebounds. Natasha Mack had 0 points, 0 assists, 5 rebounds. That's typical of Mack. Kalia Copper, shout out to the North Philly kid. She had 21 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. Monique Akoa Makani had 8 points, 2 assists, 5 rebounds. Catherine Westbelt had 3 points, 1 assist, 2 rebounds. Sammy Whitcomb had 4 points, 4 assists, 1 rebound. And Dewana Bonner had 4 points, 2 assists, and 8 rebounds. Now, speaking of Dewana Bonner, out of all the players in the WNBA, okay, it's over 144 of them, she is the only player who has the most playoff experience, okay? She's 37, and she actually said, absolutely, I will be coming back to the WNBA next season, okay? She is a vet of a vet. She's the vet's vet, okay? Okay, she's up there in age, but again, she seems as though she has a great diet. She's very disciplined with her workouts, okay? She doesn't look or play like she's 37, okay? I ain't gonna lie, sometimes here and there, her age does show, but overall, that playoff experience that she possesses over all the women in the WNBA, that's obviously a great asset for the Phoenix Mercury. Again, guys, I'll be doing a separate video later on tonight, on just the physicality of the WNBA. Cheryl Reeves, mainly her comments in that post-game interview, she was so upset. I'm sure you guys already saw it. I'm going to insert the clips prior to my commentary in this video. But yeah, when she saw Phee Collier, her star player of her team, go down like that, and Alyssa Thomas just blew right by her with that ball. She stole the ball. She was pissed. I thought she was like, it literally took 5 women to hold her back. Natisha Heidemann trying to hold her back. She dragging Natisha Heidemann. She dragging her assistant coaches. She said "F you" to a Phoenix Mercury fan on her way out, getting walked out. It was not good. I'm like, Miss Cheryl Reeves was just, she was doing a little bit too much, just a bit too much. But guys, comment down below your thoughts on like what will happen to the Minnesota Lynx going forward. Can we win this? I understand the situation is dire. Again, it's life or death at this point. But if we can take game 4, obviously we're going to have to take game 5. And is that doable? Is it even possible? Is it realistic to put that expectation and standard on the Minnesota Lynx? Guys, comment down below.